Hello, this is Arthur Bush, and you're listening to Radio Free Flint. Musician Joel Bai of the Blue Hawaiians is our guest today. Joel is a founding member of the Blue Hawaiians. They've played in the Flint area for 31 years. They're a familiar face on the circuit, and they participated in many charitable events throughout the decades. Joel Bai talks about his love for Flint, his love for music, and his lessons throughout the years as a musician on the stages in Flint, Michigan. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this. Our music is Joel Bai, none other than the Blue Hawaiians. The exit music is the same. I hope you enjoy this episode. All right, we're here today. This is Arthur Bush, and you're listening to Radio Free Flint. And I have a very special guest, definitely special to me. He's someone who, on our anniversary of Radio Free Flint, I had planned for a long time to interview because he's been dodging me for a year. Welcome, Joel Bai of the Blue Hawaiian fame.
Hello, everybody.
And
hello, Arthur.
I am so excited to have you. In the early days of the pandemic, Joel and I were chatting. I don't know, somehow we got to starting a room for musicians called the Musicians Group of Radio Free Flint on Facebook. And we started inviting all of our friends. Remember that, Joel?
Yeah, I do.
And we have a room, and we kind of limited it. We haven't charged admission. But for a while there, when people were feeling desperate, down, and lonely, Flint area musicians and other friends of ours from different spots in the country started sending in their songs in their basement and their attics. And, you know, they were playing from some crazy venues. Even Joel, I put one up because he wouldn't do it. And remember that, Joel? You were playing harmonica from your basement bar.
Oh, I sort of. That's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. Joel, you have been a musician in the Flint area for a long time. You have become synonymous with the Blue Hawaiians.
Yes.
Joel, how did your band get the name the Blue Hawaiians?
Okay, Bill Luttrell called us. We were putting a band back together. This is after Nick Garvey. And he called me up and he wanted to book the band. And he said, so I can put Nick Garvey out there. And I said, well, it's a different band. We've kind of changed their name. He said, no, let me put that out there. I said, well, they're going to come and expect to see the things that we used to do. It's a completely different scene. We're doing a lot of reggae, a lot of blues, even a few Johnny Cash tunes. So one fella, Gary Jones, we're in a duo together. He was sitting at the table and I muffled the phone. I said, wait, he wants to call it Nick Garvey. And they all went, no, it's Gary Jones was looking at an atlas and he said, tell them Hawaiians and we can always change it later, but we never did. So that's how it kind of got stuck. So it was Gary Jones that named the band.
How long has this band been playing together?
30, we're going on 31 years.
Oh my gosh.
It's changed over the years. I think you could probably, with the exception of a few bass players, you could probably put 4 or 5 other bands together from guys that used to play with us. Some of them raised families. Some of them went out of state to get a better job or whatever. And never was any hard feelings. I'm always glad about that, you know.
Yeah,
everybody
sure.
left on their own accord. And
How many of you are the original members that continue?
me, and the longest one would be George. He's been in the band the longest, and he's been there, 20 years.
The original member is you. Are there any others that started from the day you named this band?
No.
Just you?
No. Yeah.
Wow.
The longest one, like I said, would be Jory Petterpin. He's been 20 plus years.
And he's still in it.
And he's still in it.
Yeah.
Fantastic guitar player.
Now, the genres that you play, it can be quite eclectic. Have you tried any new stuff, like new genres?
Not really. I mean, as far as music is changing so fast. Popular music has changed. It's not like when we used to have a top 40 radio, like in the 80s or something, you could still hear the Rolling Stones or Paul McCartney or even Bob Dylan. And it's changed so much to this grunge and other things. We just kind of stayed in our own groove with what we were doing. And one of my standard things I always say to club owners is that our crowd is our age group. They come in, they drink the top shelf stuff, they eat, and they tip, and they do.
How would you describe the genres that you cover?
Everything from James Brown to Jimi Hendrix, really. And a lot of things in between there. There's Dylan. We do Johnny Cash. We do a good Johnny Cash. And Stones and The Who.
Your hair fashion has really never changed over the years. Did you copy Rod Stewart, or did Rod Stewart copy you?
I'm sure that it was a combination of hair. Gray hair tends to be, in my family, wiry. So it stuck out. And I looked like, believe it or not, I look crazier without the hair I have now. So I just sort of Rod Stewart buffed it up a little bit.
And it sort of stuck.
Here it is. Yes.
You're listening to Radio Free Flint. This is Arthur Bush. We are conducting our interview from St. Petersburg, Florida. As you can see in the background, it's a sunny blue day, sort of. And Joel is holed up in his house in Flint, Michigan, waiting for the sunshine. Joel,
I am, and it's coming out.
Started your career playing music a long time ago. How did you get your interest in music? How did all this start?
Everybody, mostly my mother, who played everything from Judy Garland to the Beatles, really. I saw Judy Garland when I was 10 at Cobo Hall. She was always playing music, and she really taught me how to listen. She would say, now when somebody's vocaling, or doing the vocalist is singing, or somebody's doing their solo or instrumental, she would say, please pay close attention to the rumble underneath. And that always stuck with me. The rumble underneath, I'd say. And she'd say, yes, what the fellers are doing to keep those guys singing or soloing the way that they do. And it was, of course, the groove, a feeling, an attitude, and quite inspirational, really. And I've been lucky because I've had some very, very talented musicians over the years, and we've all remained friends. As I say, there wasn't really any that I can recall any hard feelings at changing a member or anything of the sort. It's very fortunate at that.
Now, your mom, did she play an instrument?
No, but my aunt Judy played piano, and she would do like Beethoven and sonatas on the piano and stuff. She was very good. And she passed away in December. I was really hoping that I could get through to get the piano, and it was going to cost like astronomical to get it here, and I had no way of really time frame wise to go get it. But she was a Depression era child. Depression era children were the ones who really didn't trust the bank and buried money in coffee cans in the backyard and all of that kind of thing. But she had the musical talent.
Your mother, you sang with her?
Along with the movies and the records, yeah, she would sing and I would sing along with her. She took me to see, I saw the Rat Pack and I saw Judy Garland. I believe it was Jack Jones. Then I repaid her by taking her to see Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, the Everly Brothers, and the Rolling Stones. And these guys, when we sat down at the Stones concert, these guys were looking back, and they were whispering and stuff. And my mother just, stoically waiting for the show to start. And finally, one of them just during an intermission, he couldn't help it. And he turned around and asked my mother, do you really like the Rolling Stones? And she looked at him like, why wouldn't I? And she said, well, I was younger than you are right now when they hit the coast, Sonny Jim. I lost. She was, my mother was very, very cool. She was a very cool woman.
Joel, did you learn to play an instrument at a young age?
I took drum lessons from Bill Schaefer down on 3rd Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
3rd Street.
In Flint.
And from there, I hooked up with Tom Shore, Bruce Crawley, and several other people over there at Sanford Place, which ran across 3rd Avenue. And the first place we did was Pearson and Clio, the Fireside. I played there, and I was very blessed as well, Art, to see. I was cutting my teeth on it, and they were very patient because I really wasn't a jazz drummer per se, but I was learning, and they knew that I was learning, and so but there was Sherman Mitchell, Sherwood P., all the big guys around at the time, and they were very gracious to me. I was very thankful that you knew if you were doing something right. And when Sherman Mitchell would turn around after you did a chop or did a lick or ended the song, and he'd turn around and give you a wink, you knew you were okay. Sherman was the wonderful man.
Did you play for the first time at the Fireside?
Well, no, because we had a little basement band, and I think the first gig I ever did was Ballenger Park, the skating rink.
And how old were you?
16, 17, maybe 16, I think. Battle of the Bands.
What song did you play?
Oh, it was Beatles, George Harrison solo stuff, lots of Stones.
Eventually you started playing with Sherman Mitchell.
Yeah, just for a little, just Fireside. Yes. So I ran into them, and then a lot of musicians started hanging out there. In fact, there was probably 3 or 4 bands, I think, were formed from those jam sessions and grew outside of that little thing. But those were the days, I mean, you still had the fair store across the street.
Well, you had the A&W not too far either.
Yeah, that's right.
Joel, when did you decide that you wanted to play music for money?
I think around 15. 16, when I started taking drum lessons from Bill Schaefer. He would say, drummers are a dime a dozen, but percussionists are not. And so he taught us how to play the chimes, everything percussive. And he was a wonderful teacher. He was really a great guy. And played, of course, with the Flint Symphony Orchestra forever.
You're a wonderful singer and obviously an entertainer.
Thank you.
You mesmerized audiences for years with your style and your passion for singing. You, as the athletes say, leave it all out there when the last note's played. How did you develop that style? Did you have an interest in singing like in school in a band? I mean, in a choir or?
No, my interest in it never came. I guess the vocals and my wanting to sing came from the music it was. And I was never, although I enjoy the classics, Beethoven, Bach, all the long hair music, they used to call it. And I liked all that. But as far as to sing in a choir and things like that, that really wasn't my intention. I didn't dislike choirs at all. I really just wanted a band with guitars, and I wanted that Ed Sullivan feeling.
You've played in many, many joints, big and small. You played in outdoor venues. I mean, you're a staple in mid-Michigan region. So I'm going to play a little game with you here. I'm going to name a joint, and you tell me a one-word response, if that's possible.
Okay.
The Embers. Pete Fatillo's The Embers.
Pete Fatillo.
Cantos.
They're tearing it down. It's in in the ground now. They've been tearing it down this week. I'm trying to do one word, but it's tough.
That's all right. Billy's Pub.
Where the Blue Hawaiians got their regular gig at Doreen Shelton. We met down there.
We did. It was kind of a small place for a rock and roll band.
Yes, it was.
Probably still suffer from hearing loss from those occasions.
Yeah.
But we sure had a lot of fun.
It was the old A.M. Davisons.
Mr. G's.
Nick Garvey. Yeah, Mr. G's, Nick Garvey. We sat down there for a year, 2 years.
The Machine Shop.
Never played there.
Ballenger Park.
Oh, yes. Battle of the Bands. One of the first gigs I ever had.
All right, Beech Tree.
Food. They had good food.
Doug Bosley.
Doug Bosley, yeah.
Don't give one word for him.
Huh?
Don't give one word for him. He deserves more than that. What have been your top 3 favorite venues of all time?
I would have to say Wild Bill's, Billy's, Mr. G's, Embers. We had a good time at Embers too. And you can go from Robert T. Longway and head south on Door Highway, stop at Hempville, jump over and come all the way back up, and you could work 5 nights a week for a month and a half, 2 months. We stayed right on Door Highway for a long time. And now, of course, there's not many of them left.
Your first theater that you played was out in Lapeer County.
Clio Amphitheater. And then I believe we did play, I think we played in Lapeer sometime shortly after that.
It was called The Pix in 2009.
The Pix Theater. We did that, yeah.
Now, it was reported in the newspaper, you gave an interview back in 2009. You said of all the years you've been playing, it was the first time you ever played an indoor theater.
Yeah, it was.
That's amazing because your band has such a loud sound that fills a room. You wouldn't have found your way to Whiting Auditorium or something like that where you could really get some people on their feet.
We went to the Whiting and recorded that live one. Our last CD, our third CD was a live one we recorded at the Whiting. That came out very good. Had Al Hirschman doing sound, who'd done all the Grand Funk records and things. And we told him it was part of a fundraiser to redo the place, upgrade. And when I told him, and Kirk Lau at Luigi's was very instrumental in getting that going. And he said, look, get a hold of these guys, tell them we're going to hold a concert down there. How much do you want? I said, I'll tell you what. I just want a record out of it. Have Al Hirschman tape all night. Don't pay me a dime and give all the money, the proceeds to the Whiting Auditorium. Well, they bet that. But Al Hirschman came to me several times and said, you sure you're not making any money on this? I said, no, And it took him approaching me 3 or 4 times before he really understood that, no. And I forget who the manager was at the time. He said, no. This is what they're doing. They're raising money to renovate the place, and all they want is a live record out of it.
Are you a Flintstone?
Yes. I live in Swartz Creek now, but I grew up on Prospect Street. I had a house in Mott Park. I had a house on Donaldson Street. I lived there until I moved out here about 22 years ago.
What's it mean to be a Flintstone?
I'll tell you what, we've taken such a knock over the past couple decades that to me, it's to be a Flintstone is to be proud, more than just putting the world on wheels. This city and to be a Flintstone is to join together and make things happen, build back. And really, I think that creates another community that it's always been. I think we need it now more than ever. We need people to understand all the things they're not understanding on a national level. And as you know, Tip O'Neill used to say all politics is local. I think once we can get by this pandemic and people start to get out and mingle and the art fair happens again and, Buckamalley Fest and things like that, we're kind of on hold right now. But I think if everybody just pays attention to the future and doesn't, get discouraged, we're almost out of this. I mean, I'm going to get my second shot on April 5th. And, it's going to take several steps to have it come back. But I can guarantee you I will be at the forefront doing everything I can to help downtown and the other areas of Flint, because this is where I grew up. And it's a city, despite its problems, I'm very proud to be a part of and very proud to be from.
Your band has played, I don't know of any fair festival that you've missed. You seem to get an energy from your fans in an outdoor setting. Yes. More than any, yeah. I mean, you're on the level with the bands that play the Tin Roof circuit in terms of the energy that you draw from a crowd. How do you explain that? I
think it's how the band and myself emote that energy, and it's kind of one feeds the other, as it were. You're giving it your best and people are just sitting on their hands. We all try to just dig deep, find something that sparks them. And really over 31 years, there's only maybe been, just a very, very few nights I can remember. It didn't raise any hell, I guess you could say,
Your career as a musician has been good to you, although you have not made music your full-time occupation. You've done other things.
Yes.
Tell us about your other life, your secret life.
Well, I worked for the city of Flint for 25 years. I worked with some wonderful people. They taught me a lot. It was hard work. And how my luck ran with that is after the year I retired, they hung up the jackhammers and got a cement saw. So, you'd get home and you'd feel like you were doing this, after running all day, We took pride in our workmanship. I did everything from curb and gutter all the way around Civic Park School to paving 12th Street, several downtown streets, and at Buckamalley, paved Buckamalley. I remember that. That was a lot of shoveling because you couldn't get the gates to the paver out. So there was a lot of shoveling and stuff like that. But I enjoyed the work, but, and my brain tells me I could do it now, but my body quickly tells me, no, you can't.
You seem to get such joy from music.
I do. It's very soul stirring at times and always inspirational.
Who are some of your favorite musicians in the area?
Well, I liked, of course, Sherman Mitchell, Sherwood P. Floyd Moreland was another one. Oh, he was fantastic. He played forever. And here's the story that I find fascinating. He and his wife got married and went to Niagara Falls. They'd heard on the radio on the way over there that Charlie Parker was playing in Harlem. And so they stopped at a payphone, had his parents and her parents wire them enough money to drive to New York City and see Charlie Parker. They saw the show, they got in, they saw the show, turned right around and drove all the way back. And that was their honeymoon. I used to wait on him at Bowman's Drugstore. A wonderful, wonderful guy. I was a teacher, I think, over there at Civic Park when that was happening.
You've had a big following of fans over the years.
Yes.
Can you tell us about any of those fans?
There are some very ardent ones that come out and take pictures and post them on Facebook pages and our Facebook page and things. And they're very, very gracious. And they just, I mean, it's really, I get kind of abashed, you know, a little bit embarrassed is really more of the word, because we're just a local band, but they treat us like, you know, the Beatles or something at times. And I'm very, very grateful for that, of course.
Now, are you playing music full time?
Yes.
Do you have an agent, or how do you book gigs? I mean, how do you find work?
Well, Sue Packard from Gemini Productions used to book us quite a bit. She retired. Every once in a while that she'll get a call and she'll tell me, contact this guy. And that's how we used to get them. And now, of course, most of it comes through Facebook, our Facebook page, and cards I've passed out, or people that are on the Facebook page will hear about somebody looking to find a band or us. I'll get that connection. And it's really all just starting to come back now because, you know, the pandemic was so awful. It is so awful, I should say. It's closed a lot of clubs.
Now, what do you see for the future of the Blue Hawaiians?
I'd like to see yet another CD done, but, you know, that format is obsolete now. So I'm thinking maybe that we'll get this audio thing together and maybe put something out on our Facebook page or something. I'm not as technical as some of the other guys about, I don't have that savvy thing about how to get it done, but so we're going to try to do some of our stuff and get it recorded in some format or another that can be passed around.
Now, you've played fairs and festivals throughout the region, also clubs. Do you perform for people privately and that want to hear your music, and, you know, like for weddings and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. As long as they know, you know, in a wedding situation, as long as they know that, you know, we're not going to do daddy's little girl, and they know exactly what we do. And if that's what they want, we certainly will play a wedding, or any other venue, you know, as long as they know that this is, some people will hire you and then hand you a song list. We want you to play these. It's like, wait a minute, you know, we're not a human jukebox, you know, but that hasn't happened in quite a while.
In playing your music and being a performer,
we've just come to thinking that, you know, as I aforementioned about the next step, getting something recorded and put out in a format that can be taken. And I got Jory's written quite a few things, and Rod Clothier has written a bunch of stuff. So what we're planning on doing in the next few months is finding some of those that we can put together and work out the bug, get them rolling, and then we'll figure out, you know, out in a format.
If somebody wants to buy your music, do you sell it online someplace? Is there a place to go?
Well, I do have the CDs. They can get a hold of me on the Blue Hawaiians Facebook page, and I can send them a CD if that's the format they're still on. But as of yet, we don't have anything quite like an online sales.
You grew up in Flint. Where did you go to high school?
I went to Flint Northern. I was the first class to go all the way through the new Northern at the end of Mackin Road there.
And
I came out in '75, and my elementary school years were at Longfellow, and in those days you went from kindergarten right through 9th grade.
Did you ever do a talent show when you were a kid?
Yeah, we did. I know we played in the gym. Steve McComb and I and Neil Ackle, several fellas from the neighborhood, when we first started, we did like, I don't know, an hour and a half set. It was all the stuff we knew. We played everything we knew. So we played in the gym at Longfellow, and then
was that for like a school dance or something, or
Yeah, Yeah, just a regular old, it's like what they used to call a sock hop, I guess.
That was when you were like 14 or 15 or 16 or something?
Yeah, 15, 16, maybe. Yeah.
Did you have a name for your band in those days?
Yeah, it was Licks, Licks. And what it really meant was when you did a solo or did a piece of music or a drum roll or anything, in the music world, we always could a lick. You go, wow, man, that was a great lick. Play that again. So we named it Licks until, of course, people found that maybe we shouldn't do that. And then I think we became Whiskey and Lace, and had a girl singer. And then when she left, I said, we got to change the name of the band. I had seen Saturday Night Live the week before, and I thought the guy said, Nick Garvey, male prostitute. It turned out it was actually Ned Garvin, male prostitute, but we named it Nick Garvey, and everybody said, well, there's nobody in the band named Nick Garvey. And I thought, well, but geez, Whiskey and Lace, it doesn't fit us. It sounds like a horse in the Kentucky Derby, you know.
So you named your band after somebody that you didn't even know, or
right,
or may not even exist.
No, I found out later that there was a Nick Garvey that played in England, and was a pub rock band, played with early Elvis Costello and Nick Lowe and those fellas. Yeah, at the time, I didn't know it. I thought what Dan Aykroyd said was Nick Garvey. But I found out later it was Ned Garvin, and so we thought even the better. We just kept it. And we used to introduce everybody in the band, and on the bass, Nick Garvey, on the drums, Nick Garvey, and, you know. So,
now, Nick Garvey got to be quite popular.
Yeah. We had a very, very good run. I'd have to think about how many years it was. We had a very good run, and it was a lot of fun. And I'm still in touch with all of those fellas, which is quite nice.
Do you ever get together with your band, the Nick Garvey Band, or any other iteration of it, and just go to play in somebody's pole barn someplace just for the hell of it, just for fun, just for yourselves?
You know, we haven't as of yet. We've always talked about that. Of course, Steve is in Nashville now. And we all, with the exception of Nashville, we all live relatively close. And so I think, yeah, that's a possibility. If somebody wanted to just sit around and do an acoustic thing, even is great. I got a duo with Gary Jones, and we play generally the off nights. And sometimes Gary and I get calls just to come out to a campfire and play a few tunes, and that's always a lot of fun.
Now, do you ever play as just a twosome like you did in some of the videos that you've posted on YouTube?
Yeah. Gary and I do. There's two things that can break up a band or a duo or, well, any musical group really. And that is not learning any new songs and not gigging, and not necessarily in that order. So this one's been particularly tough because can't get together to at least learn new material for when it starts rolling back again. I've become kind of a crossword puzzle guy. I get the Free Press, and there's 3 in there a day, and then I get USA Today, and there's 1 in there, so I do 4 a day, and I've even been tackling Sundays. You know, that's about all one can do. But I do believe that even in this situation, which can be very dire for most, I do believe it's better to light a candle and curse the darkness. So you just got to hope. I mean, there's harder times for people before us, and they got through it, and I think we will too.
You and people like Libby Glover from Mustard's Retreat, there are many local musicians that, never took to touring on a national basis. Flint has been pretty good and loyal to people like yourself and Mustard's Retreat and others that have played for 30 or 40 years in this market. What do you see for the future of Flint music?
I think as many things have gone in the past, it can be like in everything old is new again. I do believe that the rock genre has changed a lot. I think that, and I hope that some of these up and coming bands will pay attention to, obviously the Beatles as well as Jimi Hendrix and Bob Dylan. That's all there. They can add their new stuff to it. If you've got a place to put your shoes on, then you got a place to pick it,
Well, Flint, Michigan is a town with a rich history. Flint, Michigan is a town with a rich history of appreciation of rock and roll.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
You go back to Grand Funk Railroad, a lot of the bands that played Sherwood Forest in the day, Bob Seger.
Yeah.
You can go on and on with the bands.
Sure.
Where do you see your place in the rock and roll history of Flint?
It's hard for me to think about that, really. I hope I've made some impression. I hope that I've given people the opportunity to listen to other things and maybe expose them to a different kind of deal. And, my love for music, I hope I've spilled it out there and affected somebody.
Joel Bai, I would say you've affected a lot of people and you've brought a lot of joy. You've brought a lot of good times with your work.
Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, I want to thank you for taking the time and fighting through us these technical problems we've had in this podcast. So I wish you the best. Good luck to you, and thank you for appearing on Radio Free Flint.
Oh, thank you, Arthur. I thank you so much, and anytime.
Alrighty, will do. Take care now. This is Arthur Bush. You've been listening to Radio Free Flint, and my guest, Flint area musician Joel Bai of the Blue Hawaiians. And we'll see you next Sunday when we release our next podcast. Thank you. Have a good day.